Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2024 and the gloves are off. As the Prime Minister stood up today for the customary motion of thanks address, not many had anticipated the political explosion that would follow. For 1 hour 45 minutes, the Prime Minister took repeated aim at the Congress party, calling them lazy, calling them corrupt, calling them visionless, calling them divisive, calling them a party whose entire existence revolves around just one family. And no one from that family was spared. Not Pandit Nehru, not Indira Gandhi, and certainly not Rahul Gandhi, who just, by the way, he didn't name. Also, interestingly, the Prime Minister didn't target regional parties that are part of the united opposition. Was it aimed at divide and rule? We'll talk about that in just a bit. What was clear, though, is that here was a man convinced of his invincibility, a Prime Minister for whom the upcoming election is a done deal. Listen in first to some of the highlights from the Prime Minister's speech that has now set the stage for the big battle of 2024, a battle he's convinced of winning.
विपक्ष ने जो संकल्प लिया है उसकी सराहना करता हूं। उनके भाषण के एक एक बात से मेरा और देश का विश्वास पक्का हो गया है कि इन्होंने लंबे अरसे तक वहां रहने का संकल्प ले लिया। आप कई दशक तक जैसे यहां बैठे थे वैसे ही कई दशक तक वहां बैठने का आपका संकल्प, और जनता जनार्दन तो ईश्वर का रूप होती है, और आप लोग जिस प्रकार से इन दिनों मेहनत कर रहे हैं, मैं पक्का मानता हूं कि ईश्वर रूपी जनता जनार्दन आपको जरूर आशीर्वाद देगी, और आप जिस ऊंचाई पे हैं उससे भी अधिक ऊंचाई पर जरूर पहुंचेंगे और अगले चुनाव में दर्शक दिशा में दिखेंगे। हो सकता है आपके यहाँ फिशरमैन माइनॉरिटी के ना हो सकता है आपके यहाँ पशुपालक माइनॉरिटी के ना हो सकता है किसान आपके यहाँ माइनॉरिटी के ना हो सकता है महिलाएं आपके यहाँ माइनॉरिटी में ना हो सकता है कि आपके यहाँ युवा में माइनॉरिटी। क्या हो गया है दादा? क्या देश के युवा जी की बात होती है? समाज के सब वर्ग नहीं होते हैं? क्या देश की नारी की बात होती है? देश की सभी नारी नहीं होती है? कब तक टुकड़ों में सोचते रहोगे? कब तक समाज को बांटते रहोगे? सब सीमा करो, बहुत तोड़ा देश को। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, नेता तो बदल गए लेकिन टेप रिकॉर्डर वही बज रही है, वही बातें, कोई नई बात आती नहीं, और पुरानी ढपली और पुराना राग वही चलता रहता है आपका। आज विपक्ष की जो हालत होगी ना, इसकी सबसे दोषी कांग्रेस पार्टी है। एक ही प्रोडक्ट बार बार लॉन्च करने के चक्कर में कांग्रेस की दुकान ताला लगने की नौबत आ गई है। और ये दुकान हम नहीं कह रहे, आप लोग कह रहे हैं। आप लोग कहते हैं दुकान खोली है, सब जगह पे बोलते हैं, दुकान को ताला लगने की बात आई। कुछ दिन पहले भानुमति का कुनबा जोड़ा, लेकिन फिर एकला चलो रे करने लग गए। कांग्रेस के लोगों ने नया मोटर मैकेनिक का काम सीखा है, और इसलिए अलाइनमेंट क्या होता है, उसका ज्ञान तो हो गया होगा, लेकिन मैं देख रहा हूं अलायंस का ही अलाइनमेंट बिगड़ गया। इनको अपने इस कुनबे में अगर एक दूसरे पर विश्वास नहीं है तो ये लोग देश पर विश्वास कैसे करेंगे? हमारे कार्यकाल में ईडी ने 1,00,000 करोड़ रुपए की संपत्ति की। देश का लूटा हुआ माल देना ही पड़ेगा। और जिनका इतना सारा माल पकड़ा जाता हो, नोटों के ढेर पकड़े जाते हो, और अधीर बाबू तो बंगाल से आते हैं, देखे हैं नोटों के ढेर उन्होंने तो किस किस के घर में से पकड़े जाते, किस किस राज्यों में पकड़े जाते थे। ये देश ये नोटों के ढेर देख देख करके चौंक गया है। जांच करना ये एजेंसियों का काम है। एजेंसियां स्वतंत्र होती हैं और संविधान ने उनको स्वतंत्र रखा हुआ है। जिसको जितना जुल्म मुझ पर करना है कर ले, मेरी भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ाई चलती रहेगी। जिसने देश को लूटा है उनको लौटाना पड़ेगा। जिन्होंने देश को लूटा है उनको लौटाना पड़ेगा। नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के प्रति सोच थी कि भारतीय आलसी है। नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के लिए सोच थी कि भारतीय कम अक्ल के लोग होते हैं। लाल किले से 15 अगस्त को इंदिरा जी ने कहा था, दुर्भाग्यवश हमारी आदत ये है कि जब कोई शुभ काम पूरा होने को होता है तो हम आत्मतुष्टि की भावना से ग्रस्त हो जाते हैं, और जब कोई कठिनाई आ जाती है तो हम ना उम्मीद हो जाते हैं। कभी कभी तो ऐसा लगने लगता है कि पूरे राष्ट्र ने ही पराजय भावना को अपना लिया है। आज कांग्रेस के लोगों को देख करके लगता है कि इंदिरा जी भले देश के लोगों का आकलन सही न कर पाए, लेकिन कांग्रेस का एकदम सटीक आकलन उन्होंने किया।
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Prime Minister today in election mode in Parliament. How's the Congress reacting to that 1 hour 45-minute speech where most of the love was reserved for the Congress party? Pawan Khera is joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Khera, good evening to you. I saw you there and then I saw your camera turn. Hi, good evening. Can you hear me? There you are. Your
Yes,
first response to the Prime Minister's speech in Parliament?
I mean, it's unfortunate to see the Prime Minister reducing the stature and the dignity of his office year after year, speech after speech, presence after presence in the Parliament. This is not a Prime Ministerial speech at all, Shreya. This is, I'm sorry, with due respect to people who are in, corporators in the municipalities, but it was that level. You should please rise up to the, try and understand, this is your 10th. And fortunately and hopefully the last year as Prime Minister of India, please learn to speak as a Prime Minister, as a leader. You sound very small, you sound very petty, you sound very mean, which is not good for a Prime Minister of a country as large as this.
Mr. Khera, but the fact is that the Prime Minister in his speech, what is reflective is the fact that this is a man convinced of his invincibility. This is a man who's convinced that he's winning the next election. He's saying, ab ki baar 370 paar, and for the entire alliance, 405 is the number he's giving. So he's very clear that he's winning. But the fact is, a lot of people will listen to the Prime Minister's speech and say, galat kya bola Congress party ke baare mein. This is a party that does revolve around one family. This is a party that is lazy. This is a party that is visionless. And this is a party that comes with a chip on its shoulder.
Why would people accept that?
No, I'm
why
saying...
people... I know
I'm
what you're
asking
saying.
you what the
Yeah,
response
I
of the
know you're
Congress
asking
party
me,
would
and
be
I'm
to that.
responding now. And I'm responding. Allow me to respond, please. People have seen how Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge was elected as the president, and he's the president of the party now. People have seen that since 1989, right up to 2014, there have been 6-7 governments at the center with the support of the Congress or being led by the Congress, yet there was no Gandhi family member as prime minister. So I don't know what rubbish this prime minister goes and talks. And why would people buy this rubbish? I'm sorry, nobody does. And how can he call a party lazy, a leader of which has walked 4,000 kilometers in the Bharat Jodo Yatra and now has undertaken 6,713 kilometers of Yatra? Man who's lazy is this, who keeps changing clothes 5 times a day, good makeup, and only speaks ad nauseum about Nehruji. Man who's lazy is this, who speaks without reading even this much of history about our own country. I mean, who's lazy here? We are working hard. Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge,
Mr.
at his
Kher.
age, is going about addressing block level agents meeting across the country every third day. Who's lazy? The man who is lazy is that in the last 10 years, every speech he'll only curse Mr. Nehru. That's intellectual laziness. That's being intellectually a pygmy. Who's talking about a giant called Mr. Nehru? Who's lazy? He's ethically lazy, he's intellectually lazy, he's lazy in whatever way you want to define laziness as.
But Mr. Khera, this was the Prime Minister speaking in the House. Question is, where's Rahul Gandhi? He's a member of the House as well. He should have been
Is
here.
Rahul Gandhi
You had
the leader of the
Adhir Ranjan
opposition?
Chaudhary respond to the Prime Minister.
Is
Mr. Khera,
Rahul
sun
Gandhi
lijiye.
leader
You
of
had
the
Adhir
opposition?
Ranjan Chaudhary respond to the Prime Minister bringing up Balakot. I mean, here is 1 hour 45 minutes of a frontal attack on the Congress party, and the best Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary can do in response is to talk about Balakot. Rahul Gandhi should have been here to respond, no?
Your first question
He's the
is,
face of your
where was
party.
Rahul Gandhi? Your first question is, where is Rahul Gandhi? Is Rahul Gandhi the leader of the opposition? He's doing his yatra. He's free to do his yatra. The Prime Minister rarely attends the House. Nobody asks him, where is the Prime Minister? Why is every journalist, including the Prime Minister of India himself, why are they obsessed with Rahul Gandhi? He's doing what he's comfortable doing, which is raising the right issues of Anyay, which is raising the issue of Nyay. Has the Prime Minister got a modicum of courage to have a debate with Rahul Gandhi on the issues that Rahul Gandhi and his Nyay Yatra is raising?
Okay, so here's my question to you. Do you think it was a bit rich of the Prime Minister to call the Congress party divisive?
I mean, coming from the Prime Minister, it's a tragic joke. The man who specializes in dividing the country, who recognizes people by their clothes, who divides the country between Shamshans and Kabristans, is giving us a bhashan on how not to divide India. His ideological forefathers are PhDs in dividing India. They are talking about dividing India. I mean, he's the biggest threat to the unity of this country. His ideology is the biggest threat to the unity of this country. And he has the guts to come and give us a lecture on dividing India.
But will you take it when he gives you a lecture on corruption like he did today, saying that the ED will continue to do what they are doing? They have recovered 1 lakh crore rupees from the corrupt, and that recovery will continue.
The ED will continue to protect Chhagan Bhujbal. The ED will continue to protect Hemanta Biswa Sarma. The ED will continue to protect Suvendu Adhikari. The ED will continue to protect all those who go through their washing machine. Is that what the ED is supposed to do? The Prime Minister should stop talking about corruption. We know what they've done to the CAG of India. We know how many reports now come out of the CAG. At one point, there were quite a few of them, from 75 to 15. We know how the numbers of reports have come down. We know how they've throttled the voices of CAG. We know what they've done to the Election Commission of India. We know exactly what they're doing to the institutions of India. They are talking about corruption.
The Prime Minister has also said, I'm just getting a reaction on what all the Prime Minister has said, Mr. Khera. That's my only aim here. He's saying he's disappointed in the Congress party. The Congress has failed as an opposition, he says. I'm disappointed because they have failed and they have ensured that for the next 10 years, next 15 years, they will continue to be in the opposition / in the visitors gallery. How do you respond to that?
Maybe he's right. Maybe we have failed as the opposition because we are good at being in government. And maybe he's very good being in the opposition because even as Prime Minister, he talks the language of the opposition. So I think we should swap positions now. Let him be where he is very good at. What is this talking? I mean, imagine these people have to resort to taking away our leaders because they don't have the kind of capability in their leaders. And they're talking about Congress party. We have been raising issues despite the odds that have been put in our path as opposition. Look at the way they have tried to bring Mr. Rahul Gandhi out of the house, suspend him, remove his membership. They did everything under their, in fact, in the book and outside their book, to undermine us, to weaken us. Every 10 days, people like me are going to the court. So many of our leaders, Mr. Chidambaram was arrested. Rahul Gandhi faced the ED for 50 hours. Sonia ji at her age faced the ED for so many hours. Mallikarjun Kharge ji was summoned by the ED. They do everything under their thing, and yet they come and tell us, oh, you're not being... They have completely hijacked the so-called free media. The kind of resources they are pumping in the social media. And then they say, where is the Congress voice? Congress voice is being heard in the villages and on the streets of this country, where Mr. Prime Minister has no guts. And I repeat, Mr. Narendra Modi has no courage to go out on the streets of this country and face the youth of this country. 2 suicides every hour of unemployed youth. 1 suicide of a farmer every hour. This is the kind of country the Prime Minister is leaving behind in 2024.
Mr. Khera, what's your take on the Prime Minister not actually targeting regional parties in the I.N.D.I alliance, but going solely for the Congress party? Do you have a theory on that? Because he's calling the Congress party the weakest link in the I.N.D.I alliance.
A man who is so confident, he was so confident of 370, 400 seats, would not go soft on the regional parties. He still has hope that supposing he needs numbers, he will go begging to them. Therefore, he's being soft on them. I'm sorry. Even with that begging bowl, nobody is giving you seats, Mr. Prime Minister.
We'll see. Election season has just begun. Mr. Khera, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now. Good to hear you.
Thank you,
and
Shreya.
good to get a first reaction from the Congress party. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya.
Thanks. Bye-bye. A quick chat with my guest this evening. Bhavya Narasimhamurthy is spokesperson of the Congress party, joining us on the broadcast. Akashdeep Muni is a political analyst. R.S. Pathania, spokesperson of the BJP. And we have Anurag Naidu, who is joining us on the broadcast as well. Bhavya, we've just heard from Pawan Khera, so I'm going to go to the BJP spokesperson first and then come to you. Mr. Pathania, you've heard the response from the opposition. The opposition, in fact, the Congress party specifically, not even the opposition, is saying the Prime Minister should have kept in mind the position he occupies, the constitutional post he occupies, before making the sort of speech that he has in Parliament. Do you buy that?
First of all, I congratulate. And ultimately, the Congress has opened its debate. Pawan Khera ji has opened the debate, the dignity and decorum associated with the Prime Minister's office. Everybody was aghast and ashamed over the way the Prime Minister of India was jeered. What comments were made while he was making a point on the President's address. The issueless, agendaless, the visionless opposition political party, especially Congress, stands exposed. So my point remains that to expose, to depose, it is the fundamental right of the opposition. But there is a Lakshmana Rekha to it. Pradhan Mantri said, "Mujhe aapka saath chahiye, mujhe aapka cooperation chahiye, positive cooperation." So that Lakshmana Rekha opposition needs to come to understand. They may stall Bharatiya Janata Party.
No, many people in the opposition will say it is the Prime Minister who crossed the Lakshman Rekha and made it personal. Many people will argue that it is the Prime Minister who crossed the Lakshman Rekha and made it personal. But Bhavya, what else were you expecting? This is election season. This is open season.
Yeah, so...
What else did you expect? This is the Prime Minister's last speech in Parliament.
in the beginning of the debate, you used this word love for Congress, Prime Minister's love for Congress. If only the same love the Prime Minister had for a country, he would have actually spoken about Manipur. He would have actually spoken about the price rise, inflation. That is what a person sitting in a Prime Minister's position is supposed to speak, not obsess over, the opposition party. One. And I honestly believe his arrogance and insecurity has been increasing with years. Just like how Pawan Khera sir told about how he is, reducing the dignity that the chair holds, his insecurity is just out on so many stages. Recently in Karnataka, in a government stage, he gave a political speech. He wanted to mock the chief minister of Karnataka. Like, look at he knows how popular the chief minister of Karnataka is here. And he goes inside the parliament and there he speaks about Congress party. Isn't he supposed to be worrying about India as a country and not Congress as an opposition party? If we are failing, does that mean like we are not pointing to his failures? Is he accepting that he is failing? Okay, we are failing as an opposition. Does that mean you are failing as a ruling party? Yes, you are. Because your language is totally like an opposition leader. So you better stay in the opposition leader.
Bhavya, two things. You said the Prime Minister should have spoken about inflation. He did speak about inflation. He said in 1974, inflation was 30% and look, we have brought it down. That in our third term, India will be the third largest economy. The Congress was visionless. They were ambitiousless.
Jobs that he promised. He should have spoken about the unemployment rate, which is highest in the past 45 years. Where are those 2 crore jobs that he was supposed to create every year? He should have spoken about all of that. The youth of this country are suffering. Instead, all he had to do was talk about the leaders of Congress. It's just insecurity and arrogance at its peak. She thinks
so arrogance maybe, but Anurag Naidu, insecurity. Bhavya, give me a minute. Give me a minute. Or arrogance perhaps. Okay, Bhavya, listen to me. Let's get Anurag Naidu in. Arrogance perhaps, maybe I will take that word. But insecurity for what? That the BJP is on a very, very strong wicket even before the election begins is obvious to even Mr. Modi's fiercest critics. Anurag, would you want to come in here? This is a display of insecurity that we have seen for 1 hour 45 minutes is what Bhavya is saying. Bhavya, I'll let you come in, Bhavya. Let Anurag come in, please. Go ahead.
Yes, Shreya, thank you. Shreya, thank you for having me on the show. Shreya, see, look, this is just a fear that, you need to attack something, you need to say something. And just because, you're looking weak, you want to say something. And I think Pawan Khera, I look at the audacity of Pawan Khera when he says the country is not going to give you seats to a person who has got back-to-back 300 odd seats in a Lok Sabha assembly. Their target kind of joke. Prime Minister Modi, Shreya, honestly, spoken the language that entire India is speaking. And I'm telling you as a youth, I've gone length and breadth of India. They're speaking the language that Prime Minister Modi is speaking, the language that entire India is speaking today about the Congress party. Number two, the kind of people who voted for Congress, a very important point I'm making. 25 odd percentage of voters that they have voted for Congress in the past 2 elections on an average, I'm telling. Expect the opposition to fight for them. Expect Rahul Gandhi or a leader or Congress to fight for them. What Mr. Gandhi is doing, he's on a bus yatra at the time when he is to be finalizing the seats. And I can tell you, Shreya, I don't want to take names of few Congress MPs who are who are good friends of mine, and one of the former MPs who's looking for a direction from Delhi to prepare for the elections in Maharashtra and other states, where he knows that he has to go with Sharad Pawar faction of NCP and Uddhav Thackeray faction of NCP. God forbid, I mean, I really don't understand. He has no clarity on the kind of seats Congress will contest. And your leader and everybody, the battery of leaders, because your leader goes or your Yuvraj goes, entire battery of leaders are in the bus, in the flight. They have vanished from Delhi. The state unit do not know who to reach out to at the time when poll is going to be announced. We are less than 10 days. The polls for the Lok Sabha dates will be announced and you are nowhere in the picture. What do you expect? This 25% people who voted for you on an average, you have betrayed their trust. Have you not betrayed their trust? It's a simple question. And if you're not giving a formidable opposition where you should be, what else you should do? We should only make jokes on you. You're supposed to stand for the cause of the people, not for doing your own self-PR. As long as we praise them, you're like, good. We don't praise them, then you're bad. It doesn't work like that. And at least the country is not entitled for a Yuvraj.
Mr. Naidu, okay. No. I don't think the entire country is speaking the language of the Prime Minister. I mean, frankly, I don't even think the entire country cares too much about
The numbers
politics.
will
ठीक है,
speak,
election के
Shreya. The
time vote
numbers will
देना
speak.
होगा तो दे देंगे
We will
vote. People have
we
made
will
up their
meet
minds.
after the election
But let's,
result.
you know, you
We
and
will
I
meet
may
after the
be,
election result.
you and I may be obsessed with politics. This entire country isn't. First things first. I mean, they probably have better things to do. I'm just
But
going to get in
unfortunately, data speaks
Akashdeep
for
Muni
itself.
here. Akashdeep Muni, look. अरे सुन लो ना भाई Akashdeep Muni, here's the point. The point is that the Prime Minister took an hour 45 minutes to attack the Congress party. I mean, he said other stuff as well, but the big headline is the frontal attack on the Congress party. So now the Congress party had a chance to respond. Is this the sort of response that you give a strong orator who's taken 1 hour 45 minutes to bash you consistently, bash your history, bash your so-called laziness, bash your so-called privilege, etc.? Is this the response you get? Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary talking about Balakot, matlab Balakot ancient history mein khatam ho gaya, uske bare mein. I mean, I'm just wondering where Rahul Gandhi was. He knew exactly what the Prime Minister is going to say because everyone knew exactly what the Prime Minister is going to say. You needed your strongest face to defend yourself. That face is nowhere to be seen.
You know, Shreya, one thing I don't understand, it is not the Congress party who is ruling this country. It is Bharatiya Janata Party under the leadership of Honorable Narendra Modi ji who is leading this country. So we have to ask some pertinent questions to the government, which is why there is a murder of democracy in this country by the BJP, the people. And this I'm not saying. It is said by the Honorable Chief Justice of India. Supreme Court has said it today that the murder of democracy has been committed by BJP Minority Affairs Secretary Anil Masih, who was made the presiding officer by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, by the Central Ministry. Why he has committed his murder of democracy in front of the camera. And we have seen this.
But Mr. Muni, the Congress party had the chance to ask those questions in Parliament. Those questions weren't asked. Instead, what Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary harped back was on Balakot, saying the strikes never took place. Aap sochiye na. Look at the speech that has been made and look at the weak response that came. I'm saying ask these questions. But where is your strongest face? He's nowhere to be seen. I mean, this is very self-indulgent that in an election year you take off for another yatra, convinced that your party is going to be defeated.
Congress party, I've seen that the people in the civil society has forgotten that it's the Bharatiya Janata Party that need to ask questions. Today there has been I'll just give you one question. Bhavna Goli, how many times Enforcement Directorate has sent her summons? 5 times when she was not in with BJP. The moment she comes into BJP, all the summons stop. How does it happen? Don't you think that the authorities has been subsided by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi? When you will be asking questions to them? I'm shocked in the wake of route to
bash. We to ask them questions. My point is, when will the Congress ask them these questions? The Moka Bhavya, you know, Akashdeep Muni is saying, you need to ask questions of the Prime Minister, right? No, ठीक है, Mr. Muni, I get what you're saying. And by the way, both the questions that you're raising are very valid questions. Mr. Muni, both the questions you're raising are very valid questions, by the way. But why were they not raised when the Prime Minister finished speaking? The Congress had an opportunity. And look at how they used the opportunity.
But you know what? I totally agree with you. But you know what? Prime Minister is yet to answer our questions on Rafale. Prime Minister is yet to answer a question on Adani's relationship with him. Prime Minister is yet to answer our question on Manipur violence. He is yet to answer our question on the sexual abuse that happened on the wrestlers. He never answers questions. He never faces the press. He just speaks what is given to him scripted. That's exactly why he thinks we are failing as an opposition, because he cannot answer our questions in the parliament. You were right. One of the most powerful faces, Mr. Gandhi, is on roads with the people, being their voice against the injustice. These questions that I asked.
Bhaiya, first be the voice of your party. Bhaiya, first he needs to be the voice of his party. Bhavya, he first needs to be the voice of his party. You're in an election year, heading towards a complete disaster. Your own allies don't want to be friends with you.
Party is Mr. Kharge. Mr. Gandhi is heading a Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra with the people. As the president of Congress party, Mr. Kharge is doing his duty. And why is it that everybody expects Mr. Gandhi to be omnipresent? He's doing his work. Let Mr. Kharge do his work.
Because he's a parliamentarian. And one of the jobs of a parliamentarian is to come to parliament.
As to why he doesn't attend the parliament. But nobody cares about that. He is
Mr. Patania.
Election campaign mode. He's always touring foreign countries, but never in the parliament. But yes, all of us question Mr. Gandhi, why he was not there in the parliament. When he is actually in between the people.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Patania, my final question to the BJP then would be this.
Congress?
Question to Congress.
ठीक है.
To discuss, to deliberate, to discuss, to deliberate, and to debate.
Mr. Patania, my question.
Essence of democracy.
My question.
Essence of democracy. Please.
Mr. Patania, my question is, if the BJP thinks that Congress is such a useless party, they are the weak link in India, Bhanumati ka kumbha joda and that kumbha no longer exists, akle chalo ho gaya, all that the Prime Minister has said, and by the way, it's all true. My point is, if the Congress party is such a big loser, why did the Prime Minister spend 1 hour 45 minutes on them, bhai?
That's not like it, madam.
What
we were expecting, the Congress's problem is that it has reduced itself to a ginger group, just revolving, doing Ganesh Parikrama around one dynasty only. They are unable to rediscover themselves. They are unable to catch the inspirational instincts of New India. They are unable to have a moral, political and ethical impulse. They are just trying to impede. And you have put a very, very relevant question. Rahul Gandhi ji is a member parliament. He owes a constitutional duty. The process of lawmaking to deposing the government, and particularly before the elections. Where is he? Where is Sonia ji? Where is Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary? And you first of all shirk your very, very essential, very fundamental duty. And you just, the hatred for Bharatiya Janata Party and Narendra Modi ji, you keep on spitting venom against Bharatiya Janata Party and Narendra Modi just on the streets of India. This is the biggest platform which has been offered to you by the people of India. You are the elected parliament. You needed to oppose the government on issues. You needed to have attacked the budget. You needed to have discussed and debated on the white paper issued by the government with regard to the economic transformation, transform and reform, what the finance minister said.
But it's not like the Prime Minister. No, the Prime Minister was responding to the President's address. It's not like he stuck to the theme. Mr. Patania, let's not sermonize the Congress party here. It's not like the Prime Minister stuck to the theme either. So this is, as I said, election season, ladies and gentlemen. 2024 is upon us. This is election season and the gloves are off. It's only just beginning. We'll leave it there for the moment. Bhavya, thank you very much for joining us. Akashdeep, thank you very much. Mr. Patania, good to have you on the show. Anurag, good to have you on the show for this very quick chat. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. Up next, I'm telling you why the Supreme Court, one of our guests has referred to it, why the Supreme Court today came down on the Chandigarh mayor elections, calling it a murder of democracy. That important story coming up in the next 1 minute. Do stay with us.